this great man with me is Mr. Oluwa Adeniyi is a certified NEBOSH, I think, yeah, I'll put it like that, certified NEBOSH holder, and is also a professional in health and safety with over a decade of practical experience. He is an alumnus of the NEBOSH UK, United Kingdom, who has gained practical experience, in various industries. In various industries, including construction, processing, logistics, processing, and manufacturing. His passion is geared towards improving the workplace health and safety culture, which earned him a certificate in IOSH Behavioral Safety Leadership. He's an experienced tutor and trainer with over 7,000 hours of OSH or OSH or IOSH knowledge, as it's been called, delivering bespoke and recognized courses from NEBOSH and IOSH. He is the lead auditor with ISO certifications in both quality and occupational health and safety management systems. His practical experience cuts across projects, operations, consulting, and training. And beyond work, he loves engaging with teenagers and younger adults, and as a certified emotional intelligence specialist, he helps his age range in navigating through this stage. So please join me to welcome Mr. Ifeoluwa Adeniyi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Right.
So
thank you
can have very much.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks for saying that I can do this and asking me to do this for you. And thanks to everyone who has joined in. Thank you for sparing your time. This is work hours, and thank you for sparing your time to join in. I can see a few names in here. Edith, Ola, Adebola, Muyolua, Kenneth, Samuel, Mercy, Avila. Thank you everybody for joining this call, and we don't take this for granted. All right, so I'll be sharing my slide right now. Just confirm to me when you can see my slide. One moment, please.
Okay, Mr. Ife, while you're trying to bring out your slide, please, an attendance link will be dropped or popped in this webinar. Please kindly fill it, your name, because we are going to be using that to send you the exam, access to the exams. Like we promised, everyone on this call is going to be having to pay eyes on conditions. So please kindly fill the attendance that we dropped in the chat box or top of the screen. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Ife.
All right, thank you very much. So without wasting time, any further time, I'll just go into it. So the topic I've been asked to discuss, and I use the word discuss because I'll be open to questions and I'll also be open to feedback. And if you need to get further clarification, I'm so open to that. All right, so the topic is ISO 45001 certification and career development in FMCG industries. And this is a very interesting conversation because, with over a decade experience, I've explored around this certification and management system. So I've just tried to put this in objective. We'll be looking at an overview of ISO 45001 look at the benefits of this ISO standard. Let's look at job opportunities in the FMCG industries. Look at career development strategies. Success story also I'll be glad to share with you. In fact, I had to reach out to a number of persons to say, while I think I know you, can you share a specific story with me so I can share with participants in today's conversation. All right, so I'll just start with, can I confirm I'm still being here? Can anyone confirm I can hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, it's clear. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. So overview of ISO 45001 so let me start with this this funny so 45001 I was asking myself, what does this mean? why this number and a full and this column and the year. I mean, I could not fathom what this meant, and I'm sure by the end of this, maybe someone is asking why ISO, or I mean, well, I was called it ISO. If it's called ISO, but what I'm saying is ISO 45001 full column 2018. And what was this big number, and what does it mean? And this is what we are here to learn. I want to believe at the end of this conversation, please, if you're not clear about this ISO 45001 or 2018, you might come back for us to pay you for your time spent. But I can assure you that among that is going to let you understand why this number is there. All right. So an overview of this is it provides a framework to enable businesses to implement effective arrangements for management of operational health and safety. And I will a lot of times use the word OSH. When I say OSH, what I mean is operational health and safety. I hope it's clear. When I say OSH, what I mean is operational health and safety. Okay. So, I mean, this looks like a lot of words put together with various meaning. So what I've done also is to say points to note in this definition, in this overview, is number one, there's what is called ISO 450012018. Another thing to note is there's what we can also deduce from that statement is ISO standards, also is framework, and also is operational health and safety. So I'm going to go back to that overview that says ISO 450012018, right, provide a framework to enable business to implement effective arrangements for managing operational health and safety. So what I've done is to this overview, I tried to break into different words, and what I'll be doing with us this afternoon is to look at the different words that make up this overview. All right. So, and I've said it is ISO 450012018 ISO standard framework and operational health and safety OSH. So I'm going to start from the last OSH. So what is operational health and safety? You know, it's amazing that 2010, when I started this career, and when I go back home to, and by the way, I mean, I have a background in biochemistry, I have a master's degree in biochemistry. So when I switched to health and safety, and I go back home and I told my folks that, I found a new thing, I found a career, and it's operational health and safety. Guess the question that I was being asked? I was asked, do I now work with road safety or fire service? Because, I mean, in their head, then the only safety or people who are in health, who are in safety is either road safety or fire service, right? I mean, but it's a different ball game now. I think things have gotten better now. I can tell someone that I'm an OSH professional, and you are likely to know what that means. All right. So what is operational health and safety? What do we do? So someone is asking me if in the last 12 years of your life, what have you been doing? So let me tell you in simple terms, right? OSH is generally defined as a science of anticipation, recognition, evaluation, and control of hazards arising in or from the workplace that could impair the health and well-being of workers, taking into account the possible impact on the surrounding community and general environment. Apologies for that long statement. However, in a simple term, I've defined us as, or the drive for us as, who you are or will become because of what you're doing or what you have done. I mean, the kind of work you do. So we say this in a simpler term, that you are a reflection of where you work. So if you see someone who works in a noisy environment, over the years, the person, if not careful, would or might start having hearing loss issue. If you see someone working in a construction, over the years, the person might start having issues related to construction. So imagine someone who serves or who is a waiter in a clubhouse. who is exposed to loud noise, over the years, down the line, that person might end up having hearing loss. So what health and safety does, or the drive, is to say, whatever you do, there is that thing that can affect your health and safety. And what we do is to anticipate what can go wrong, to identify that thing that we call a hazard. And hazard in simple terms is anything that has potential to cause harm. So as a health and safety practitioner, what we do is to ensure that while you deliver your competence, whatever job you do, either you are in the lab, you're in the office, you're in the hospital, whatever you do, you can deliver that task and you can go back to your family safe and sound. That's what we do. And unfortunately, in this part of this world, you rarely have a conversation around, beyond the job you do you know how to stay alive? In fact, in my experience, all people say is, I will die there. Now we the worker. All die and die. In health and safety, or in optional health and safety, the drive is to ensure that you work and you can go back to your family safe and sound, healthier than, even if possible, than who showed up in the morning at work. And that's what we do, really, right? I can also tell you that data has it that there are more deaths at work than at work. And I'll tell you what you can verify online. There are more deaths that are work related than war related. So imagine your head. I mean, all of us can easily relate with war, but we are saying that data that we have gotten over the years, that there are more people who have died or whose death is as a result of work. There are more than people who have died from war. So imagine, I mean, the current war we have now, or a country clash we have now, is Ukraine, Russia. So we're saying that, imagine the number of deaths from that war. There are much more from war. I mean, that might not seem, if what are you saying, but these are data related, right? These are from data. And I mean, part-time not permits me to really go in depth, but the drive or motive for operational health and safety professional is to say, we don't want you to die at work. In fact, for me, I personally tell my team here that your first job description is to stay alive at work, right? Why this looks like a very noble profession or good thing to do, the truth behind it is that if you don't have a framework, it will start from your lip and end with your lip. You must have a framework, a structure, a system to be able to say, yes, as a business, we recognize the need to ensure that our staff, our workers, our team are not affected by what they do at work. So, beyond just saying, it's a good thing to ensure that people can go to work and go back to their family safe and sound, there must be a framework, a structure to ensure that that desire can actually be delivered. And desire is to say that people can come to work and go back to their family safe and sound. And that's the framework we're talking about, to say, let's have a process that is simply a series of steps that we can keep doing for continuous improvement to ensure that we achieve a culture. And culture, culture over the years, if it's been done and practiced, sometimes we don't even challenge the culture, right? So you see, in Nigeria, and I say this respectfully, I leave Nigeria, as soon as he or she lands in Heathrow in UK or GFK in the US, there's this adjustment. You just want to adjust. You stand on the queue, you wait for your turn, you don't trust things. I mean, you just adjust. Why? Because suddenly you find yourself in a culture. So a culture, because there's a framework, there's a system, there's a management of how they want to do things. So if we understand the importance of saying workers must not die at work, we must have a structure, a framework around it. While there are a number of frameworks, and amazingly, there are a number of system structure that one can get, the one we're focusing on today is the ISO standard, right? So what is ISO or ISO? I mean, we kept using the word interchangeably, ISO, ISO. What is ISO? What is ISO? Now, ISO is International Organization for Standardization. Some will be wondering, but it's supposed to be IOS. But it's called ISO, really. International Organization for Standardization is an international standard development organization composed of representatives from national standard organization of member countries. What it is saying is that there's this body that says that we want to be developing standard, and we are open to having nations, countries come to be a member of this organization. And let me tell you for free, Nigeria is a member country of ISO, right? And what they do is they develop documents that contain practical steps and best practice. So what they do is they come together, bring the best of brains, competent people to design a document that contains practical ways to achieve best practice, right? And I can also say this is always an agreed way of doing things. And while it cannot be held as a legal document, however, we say it is a best practice. It's called national best practice. So what it is saying is that ISO standards are designed to solve problems and are best practice. Can I confirm that someone can still hear me clearly?
Yes,
Somebody? Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right. So having started from the overview of ISO 45001 I moved into what OSH is, and I moved to say framework must be designed so that you can be sure that the desire of having a safety culture, the desire of ensuring people can come to work and go back alive, healthy and safe, can be achieved. And we are saying that when we have a number of frameworks, we have the ANZI, you have the HOSHAS. We also have, and what we're discussing today is ISO framework. And the framework or the standard for occupational health and safety is what we call ISO 45001 2018. 2018 means that was when this particular standard came into life, came into being, right? So that 2018 is actually the year, right? You see some other standard with different year. So what that 2018 means that this particular standard or framework, as I've defined, or system or structure came to be in 2018. Does that make sense? All right. So like I said, it's a framework that will be used to manage occupational health and safety risk and prevent work-related injuries and ill health to workers and provide safe and healthy workplace for workers. So like I said, it is good desire to say our workers can come to work and stay alive. You need to have a framework that can help you know how you are starting, what you are doing, how you are faring, opportunity to improve on what you are doing, and how you get to the desired point. Right. That's the framework. Okay. Then this ISO 50018 is that framework or that standard to help achieve the prevention of work-related injury and ill health to workers. It is to, the system implements effective arrangements of managing occupational health and safety. Like I said, it is that framework, that arrangement. Okay. So what's the benefit of ISO 45001? What will a system or a company benefit if it has this framework? Remember that this framework is to ensure that people can stay alive, work effectively, and the company can get the maximum, can maximize their competence or their efficiency. Right. So the benefit to a system is that it ensures compliance with current legislation worldwide. Remember I said that this standard is put together by the best of brain globally. So it's not just a Nigerian thing or an African thing. It is best practice put together for any business, any organization to implement, right? So if you implement that means that you are most likely complying with worldwide standard, right? It also helps to establish a good reputation. So if you say a company that you say is ISO 45001 compliance, or that company has subscribed to this ISO standard, that will tell anyone, anywhere, not just in Lagos, not just in Nigeria, that will tell anyone, anywhere, that this company must be a safe place to work. And a number of us, beyond just the money, we want to be able to go to work and come back to our family alive. I mean, well, not injured, not reduced in any form, either in our health or in our safety, right? So the benefit to the system is that it confers that idea that this place is the best place to work, or it's a safe place to work. It also brings a host of coronary benefits. I mean, a lot of benefits ranging from reduced cost insurance costs to improving employees' morale. So altogether, it helps to tell a system, or it helps to tell the worker of a system, that where you are working has you in mind and they are complying with best practice to ensure that you don't get hurt or affected in this where you work. So like I said, ultimately, there won't be any accidents. And when there are no accidents, insurance costs are reduced. There are no additional costs in hospital bills or even investigation. So this is the benefit of this ISO 45001 to people, to a system. Now, the focus is FMCG. And why this is very critical and important is because FMCG, from the name, is FMCG means fast moving consumer goods. From the name, you can infer, you can guess that that means it must be a fast-paced system. Some years ago, I was working with a business that was a safety consultant to an FMCG, and that was where I understood that 60 seconds can mean a 15 million naira to a business. So imagine a business that has like 6 lines, and 6 lines, what I mean 6 lines means conveyor lines, and each line can produce as much as a 1,200 bottles of their drink in 1 minute, right? 1,200 bottles of their drink in 1 minute. So imagine if 1,200 of their drink in 1 minute multiplied by 6, so that I can tell you how much they can produce in 1 minute. So if that kind of system now gets shut down in 1 minute, in 1 hour, in 1 day, in 1 week, imagine how much they'll be losing. And these FMCGs, they don't, I mean, it's a sheet system. So you see that they keep coming and production keeps going. So what that means is, for them, it is a fast-paced system because of what they do. Now, what this tells us is that in this fast-paced system, there is that tendency that something can go wrong. Let me paint this for you. And I want to ask a question, and I'm hoping someone will answer from the audience. Which accident do you think would be more serious? A vehicle driving at 20 kilometers per hour and a vehicle driving at 100 kilometers per hour. Two of them hit a particular structure. Which vehicle do you think would be of the worst accident? The one of 20 kilometers or 100 kilometers per hour? Can someone answer us, please? Anybody?
All right, 100 kilo. Okay, Adebola is my name. 100 kilometers per hour.
Thank you very much, Adebola. I mean, it's clear because of the fast pace or the speed of that vehicle. So what that also tells you is that in FMCG, because of the how increased their pace has to be, because of how much they have to churn out, because of how much product they have to send out, their process and procedure seems to be, to be fast-paced. And that's why in such system, there is that chance, there's that tendency, there's that probability that accidents will be of high risk or will be of increase, right? And also because of the various processes they have, from their logistics to their procurement to the production itself, right? So what I've done is from the procurement of the product to the production of the product and to the sending out of that product. These three major sector or arms of FMCG are fast-paced. Because, a typical FMCG will not say, we are producing so much and we're not turning it out. They don't have the warehouse to store only, but to store and to sell it immediately. So it's always fast-paced. So because of this tendency in FMCGs, there is that chance that something can go wrong. Why in Nigeria we don't have an exact data of accidents going wrong? I also tell you for free that most accidents you get to see or hear or flagged by the government happen in the FMCGs. And while I will not stand here and say the number of them, you could Google yourself and say accidents in workplace in Nigeria or in Lagos. You'll be surprised that one of the few ones that will jump at you will be FMCGs. So that means it is very critical for fast-moving consumer goods industry to have a system in place to ensure, a framework in place to ensure that as they are having this fast-paced process, their workers are safe. Now, this is for us. There are various career development strategy pathway for us. Recently, about 2 years ago, I did a research, not published research though. And I reached out to a number of my colleagues, friends, professional colleagues, people I know, to say, guy, can you share with me how you got to this stage? In fact, I was part, maybe one or two persons will also bear witness. I was part of a team that was doing like an interview or an engagement for people who had gone far in this career to say, how did you get here? I can tell you for free that there are two major paths. There's a degree path and there's a certification path. Degree path means that maybe you have gone to a university or a tertiary institution and you went to study occupational health and safety. As at this morning, I don't know what happened in the last 2 hours because I've not been on internet for the last 2 hours, but at this morning, I can tell you for free that I don't know Nigerian university that's given out a degree on occupational health and safety. I don't know. I'm not saying they are not, but I don't know. And I think I know a few things. I know there are only 3 institutions that are giving higher degrees in occupational health and safety. Only 3 higher degree in occupational health and safety. What that means is a number of practitioners that you see today or professionals that you see today must have either gone through certification. I'm a witness. I mentioned to you that I have a master's degree in biochemistry, but for the last almost 13 years, I'm not sure I've learned biochemistry really, right? It's been occupational health and safety. And how I got here is through certifications, meaning I've gone for short courses, physical course training, online training to say, I like this field. It is a knowledge-driven field. And I say that again, it's a knowledge-driven field. I have a mentor who told me over the weekend that he took a course, last week. And I asked him, I don't understand. Are you still taking courses? And he laughed loud. In this field, it is a knowledge-driven career path, right? So I'm coming back to what I'm saying. You either get through degree or through certification. And there are a number of them. And one of them is this ISO 4500 certification. What I've done, I don't know if you can confirm, you can see my slide. What I've done as an evidence what I'm saying is I went online, LinkedIn, and I checked, I mean, for Nigeria, and apologies for those who are joining for us in Nigeria. For Nigeria, I checked professionals, people who are grounded in operational health and safety, to say, is ISO 45001 very important to anyone in the industry? And I checked, and I have 6 names here, and you can see that each of these names, you see that they, at some point in their career growth, had to go for this 45001 I was talking about. If it's not important, Alfred Ajao, a chartered member of IOS, will not do a certification. If it's not important, Edwin Usoro, who is the group lead for TGI, will not do operational and asset management system course. If it's not important, the national lead of IOS Africa, Sintokwe Modele, who is a chartered fellow of IOS, will not do operational auditors course or operational management system course. What I'm saying to us is, if it's not important, these individuals will not have gone through it, and these are the people who are, I mean, leaders in operational health and safety industry. Now, my point is that beyond understanding that business needs it, business also needs people to run this important framework. Business needs individuals who have learned the act, who have got the competence of this important framework. And I have two success stories. One is a friend. I'll just say his name as Mr. A. I mean, for he's asked me not to mention his man. Mrs. Kola can attest to the fact that I showed her that I had to reach out to people to say, tell me your story. I would like to share a story so that it will not just be fair just coming up with slides, but tell me your story. And they told me some story, and I'm going to just summarize the story to say, some 8 years ago, he was in the industry, and from an engineering background, he saw that there is these few guys that they're always after their well-being. And it was curious that you guys just show up, and all what they're shouting is, don't get hurt, don't be well, ensure that you are healthy, and all of those. And he got curious. And I mean, the first thing he did was to understand what they were doing. And he knew that, okay, these are all professional. And in his testimony, the first professional course he did was, as at then, it was called 18001, right? Operational management system for health and safety. That's what he did. He went to do this framework we're talking about. And that's where he understood that this framework is not only for us professionals, it's for everyone. Because you understand later on that everyone needs to be in this pool. Like I said, it's a framework. From procurement to operation to logistics to supply chain. It's a framework, and I'm focusing now on the FMCG. So after I took that course, right, it began to run. Luckily for him, the business he was working with as at then were subscribed to this management system. So he was brought in as one of the drivers of this framework. And I mean, began to do it, began to, help the business. From there, he moved on that business as also a driver of this management system. And today, in 8 years, he's a leader in what we call management system implementation. In fact, he's on his LinkedIn profile as an ISO management system implementation or implementer. Right. That's the first story. Second story is some time ago, I was in a team to conduct an interview, and one of the questions that dropped a high flyer was, are you IS certified? And why that was asked was because that business at that time were in the process of getting their ISO certification already. I mean, it's easier to say or to fight for the guys. Say, why not training? It was costing for them. So they look at the best 4 guys and say, anyone among you with this ISO certification, and I mean, luckily it was only 2 of them that had ISO certification. That's how they got into that system. So I mean, this story I'm saying is to let's understand the importance of having this or understanding this ISO system. My last line will say ISO. So I'll go back to the first slide that says overview of ISO 45001, and it says it provides a framework. I'm sure you understand what the framework is now, to enable businesses to implement effective arrangements for managing operational health and safety. What that means is this standard has put together by best brain in this profession, in this career path, to say this standard will help any system achieve from wherever they are to an improved safety culture, so that their people, their worker, can come to work and go back or return back to the family healthier, safer, and better than who showed up in the morning. And that's the overview of ISO 45001. And what I've done for us in this few minutes is to start to or to help us understand the importance of this standard, why it is very key for a fast-moving consumer good industry, the various career paths to attaining this, why the importance of this standard, because it is not important. All of us, including myself, would have spent time driving, understanding, and achieving this framework. And with my short story I've told you, I hope I'm able to convince you to make you understand the importance of ISO 45001-2018 and the benefit to both the business and individual. I'm going to stop right here, take our questions and feedback, and to clarify anything that needs to be clarified. Thank you very much for your time. I hope it's well received, and this is well had by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ife. Thank you. This was a well-packed presentation, and I know that I'm speaking for everyone that you're giving us a real exposure into what ISO 4501 is about, and how relevant it is in today's industries, more specifically to the FMCG industries. So we're going to be going to the Q&A session right away. So while we are doing that, we're going to be doing a poll. I wanted to run it at the beginning of the session, but most people are not around. But since we have a lot of people on the call now, we can run the poll. We just want to know, how, why have an interest in ISO 4501, or why have an interest, in the FMCG industry. So the poll, we just want to know all those, get this data for further analysis. Okay, so please, if you have any questions, you can raise your hands if you want to speak, or you can drop it in the chat box. Okay, please, can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So, Mr. Ife, thank you for the breakdown. I would like to ask a follow-up question on the things that you've mentioned earlier. Okay, so now you talk about how relevant it is, and with the success story, we can see that it is very relevant in the FMCG industry. Skills or qualifications that employers in the FMCG industry look out for when hiring professionals with OHS management expertise. How can participants enhance their profiles to stand out in the competitive field? Hello?
Sorry.
Did you hear my question clearly, sir?
No. Sorry, come again. I think I lost you at some point. Please come again, please.
Okay. So I said that, well, one of the success story you mentioned was that one of the questions you asked the interview was to ask that, okay, what for someone who is just
Is it my network? Am I not hearing Bukola very well?
who has no prior knowledge of ISO 4501? Can you hear me now, please? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Loud and clear.
Network is breaking.
Okay. Okay. Let me take it. FMCG industry, looking out when hiring professionals with OHS expertise. How can participants, enhance their profile in this competitive field? I hope that is clear, sir.
Okay. So I think I heard you saying that how can participants enhance their profile in this competitive field, right? Okay. So
yes.
For participants in the OSH, if you are participants who are OSH professional, this will not take me a lot of time to convince them, right? You understand. In fact, as OSH professional, we look forward to having a framework that we can be driving. However, like I've said, for FMCG, one of the things that stand it out is that process, the process that is fast paced, so to say, right? And there is a need to have like a check, like a system to ensure that as we're achieving the fast paced nature of that industry, you can also be assured of the health and safety of everyone. And if you look at, I didn't have time to go into all of the clauses of the ISO standard. If you look at the clause of the ISO standard, you see that it involves everyone. So the one I can remember off the top of my head is like cross-sell talk about competence, which is not standard. That's HR function, right? So HR person who wants to employ who is bringing in people into the FMCG industry would have the knowledge of this standard will help you understand kind of people you bring as it relates to best practice. For those in planning, I think 8.1 operational planning, talks about planning the process. So for those in planning, for those in legal, I think plus 6.1.3 talks about foundation of legal requirements. So if you're in legal department, this speaks to you. For those in for engineering, maintenance, or facility guys, plus 8.1 talk about contractor management, right? So that means as a maintenance team, whoever I'm bringing on board to do any tasks for me, right? Must be safety compliant. So what I've said is beyond the OSH professionals who understand perhaps the need of ISO 45001, it speaks to everyone. So how you can help enhance your career would be, to take, this kind of courses to understand the framework. The understanding of this framework can ultimately help you to stay relevant. And I don't think any business would trust a relevant worker. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. My next question before I open the floor to the audience to ask would be, what are the typical career path? Please, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I said, what are the typical career path or progression opportunities that are available for individuals with ISO 45001 certification in the FMCG industry? What are the typical career path that's available to them?
Okay, typical career path would include, like I said, the framework of that standard speaks to everyone, right? There's that part for the top management, there's that part for those in legal, there's that part for internal auditors, right? But there's a whole clause for internal, external auditing. There's that part for communication. So those in the corporate comms, right? So depending on what you do before, there's that. I know a friend, right, or a professional colleague who started with, it was brought in as an internal auditor, but today he's a lead auditor, right? Because he moved from that being internal auditor. Took a number of courses, got to gain experience, and today what he does today is to help business who are trying to be to subscribe to this standard to achieve that standard. So that's a career path, right? But you have to start with you. Having to understand or take this course, and I'm glad to have started with your kind of business who is there to help people who are willing to take this kind of course, right, to help advance their career. So my point is that the career path or progression you have is that you understand that framework. You have diverse path that can take depending on your affinity or what you gravitate towards, and you can choose from the various courses in that standard. I think that makes sense to you.
Oh, okay. Yes, it does make sense. Well, what are the roles that are out there that they can apply for? For example, someone has ISO 4501, with the foundation or the implementer. What are the roles that are available that they can apply for that will need ISO 45001?
Okay, so roles as auditors, internal auditors of that business. Any system that has this framework, that system requires them to have internal auditors, right? Roles like I mentioned, planners, right? Beyond just the OSH professional, you with your ISO 45001, you are a step ahead of being taken in as a OSH professional, right? Personally, if I'm bringing anybody to my team, one thing I look out for is, do you have this ISO standard? Because it helps to understand beyond just driving asset and risk. You have to understand how to navigate from where we are to where we can be, right? Okay. I also mentioned for procurement team. If you are joining a procurement team and with that ISO 45001, it helps to tell whoever is employing or the HR team to say, whoever I'm going to bring in as vendor, beyond their competence beyond their technical competence, I'm also going to drive safety competence, because a vendor can come to do a good job, but they're on our site. So what's the point? Right. So procurement team, engineering team, we also, in fact, I have some few HSC HR friends, and they reach out to me sometimes, and I'm saying this for free for whoever wants to hear. A number of us also help put up questions during interviews. HSC questions, because whoever they want to employ, they want to be sure that you will not come and either kill someone or help someone to die in a facility, right? So they also help. So with your 45001 competence, you also help to tell whoever HR to say, I am going to help support your drive for safety culture. So, like I said, these are various career paths that one can take.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ife. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Adebayo, you're raising your hands. Can ask a question, or mute yourself and ask your question, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Adenigi. My question, I work with, the first question is, agric, where does agric come in when you're talking about FMCG? I work with a research institute, an agricultural research institute, and I also work with farmers. So there's an agribusiness side of it, and there's the research part of it, whether in the lab or research on the field. So what's the role of an HOSH person when it comes to agric sector in terms of what we have been looking at, and especially the HOSH 45001? Does it also apply to agricultural sector in terms of agric research, either in the lab, on the field, or even working with the farmers directly? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Habib Adebola, for that question. And I mean, like I said, the framework of OSH is not specific to any industry. I mean, it is, like I said, this is put together by competent and best in this field to say, whatever industry you are in, yours is just to pick this frame, and that's why we call it framework, not SOP, and not procedure. It's a framework, right? I'm just like, I mean, we have different sizes, but we have the same frame, I mean, our skeleton, right? So it's a framework. So this framework fits in. I don't like you can verify this, and let me give you a surprise. In the UK, right? And UK is, last time I read, is a country that is best known to practice OSH. Agri sector it leads. I mean, before there used to be construction, but currently, agri sector is where we have highest death in the workplace in the UK. I'm saying this publicly, you can verify, right? And because, I mean, in agri, we are exposed to from the biological hazard to mechanical hazard to chemical hazard. I mean, to hazard to vehicular hazard. So there are a lot of hazards in the agri sector, right? But with this framework, you can determine. So, as a simple example, to say, okay, so if I have someone to go to the farm, what can likely go wrong? What can I do to ensure that that thing will not happen to that individual? What can I have as a system to ensure that whoever, not just if it goes to the farm, whoever comes to my farm will be safe on my farm? Then the knowledge of this ISO 45001 will help me create a framework to say, from your words to come to my farm, and you're leaving my farm, and even go to the lab, I have a framework to ensure everyone that is exposed to my people, my process, or my place is safe during and after the exposure. So this knowledge will help us, or help you create a framework to achieve the safe interaction of people with your system. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yes, I'm sure, and I agree with you perfectly. There are a lot of hazard in the agricultural sector, from the laboratory to the field, and even working with farmers and all of that. But because maybe you have not been talking about agricultural sector, it has been industry, construction. That was why I raised that question too, because I also want to learn more. It's something that catch my interest. Either working with farmers or even doing trials on the farm or in the laboratory and all of that. Thank you for that answer.
Thank you. I mean, thank you very much. I had to focus on FMCG, and I'll just drop this. I can tell you that I am aware of issues going on in the farm. I mean, about a 2 year of my life, some years back, I've worked with an agri system, and I can tell you that there's a lot of hazard on the farm. Thank you very much for raising that question there, Adebola.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adebola. Thank you, Mr. Ife, for the answers you gave. Please, are there other questions? We just have 2 minutes. We don't want to keep you beyond 4 p.m. Are there any questions before we bring the session to a close? Anyone? Okay, and there's none on the chat box.
Oh, after this eye opener, what's the next thing? Where do we go from here?
Okay, very good question. Thank you. So what we've done is we have I'm going to give everybody on this call a free certification course on ISO 45001 foundation. So for you to take it, to have a knowledge about what it is about, then if it interests you and you want to take it further, we have 2 other levels. We have the lead implementer that dives deeper into what ISO 45001 is about and how you can implement it for your organization. Okay, then if you now want to take it more further, we now have the auditor, and also be able to audit the system, because after implementation, you have to audit it to say, okay, this was done. Is it in line with the requirements of ISO 45001? What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? Try to check the gap analysis and all that. So those are the things that the course will provide for you. So that will be the next course of action. But what we are doing here from us as a goodwill is to give everybody on this call access to take ISO 4501 foundation course for free. And we'll be sending you an email with regards to that. I hope that is clear, please. Hello?
Yes. Perfectly.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ife. It was a wonderful session with you. We enjoyed every bit of the information that you brought on board, and I know that we'll still have a need of you. If you have any training, we'll also reach out, because I know some people are very interested in that. Thank you very much, Mr. Ife. I really appreciate your presence.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And a big thank you to everybody on the call. My name again is Bukola Bamidele, and I manage the operations of Standards and Best Practice. For those who were not here at the beginning, I said that Standards and Best Practice is an edutech and certification body that provides various ISO and best practice certification courses. So you can go to our website to find more information. Currently, we're running a promo on in ISO 19011. It is the management system. It is the course that speaks to internal audit management system. So if you are certified to ISO 19011, you are able to audit management systems like ISO 9001, even for the 5001, 270 that speaks to information security. It's like an internal audit course, certification that satisfies you as an internal auditor to be able to audit management systems, not financial audits. Okay, and the good thing about this program is that you can do any ISO implemental certification course, as you can see displayed on the screen. Anyway, I won't want to, because it's already time. If you need more information about this, you can just reach us via email info@smbp.net. This promo is going to, last to the end of May. So if you want to take advantage of this, please reach out to us and we'll provide you with all the details. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for coming. We are going to reach out to you with regards to the recording and also the access to the ISO 4501 Foundation course. Okay, thank you. Please don't fill the attendance. Please fill the attendance, because that is what we are going to be using to send you all this information that we have said on the platform. Please kindly fill the forms on the chat box. And if you can network, you can ask us questions. Please have any questions about our services. We are here to, when you ask us to stop. Okay. Thank you, but you can take your leave, please. Thank you very much, everyone. I will see you at our next webinar. Bye.